Good afternoon, folks. This is Steve Hellwagon with Bucknuts.com. Back here with you, recapping Ohio State's tough 66-60 loss at Michigan State today. Excuse me. Michigan State came into the game ranked number 15 in the country, and Ohio State was going up there to try and pull off an upset. Michigan State was favored by 10 points, so they were somewhat of a heavy favorite in this game. The Buckeyes went up there already playing shorthanded without shooting guard John Mobley out indefinitely with a hand injury, although we hear he could be getting closer to coming back, and the hope is possibly that will be on Wednesday against Iowa. I'm going to apologize because I'm here alone with my dogs who are going to need to go in and out, and I will let one of them in right now. But as I will continue to talk throughout this, the situation was compounded, obviously, today when the word came out that both Amari Bynum and Devin Royal were questionable for this game due to illness. As it turned out, Devin Royal went through warmups, was unable to play. Amari Bynum did play. He played, I believe, 25 minutes thereabouts, but did not score. Was 0 for 5 from the floor, and just struggled, to make anything happen. Had some foul trouble early in this game, and really kind of struggled at times. So, here you are. You're already down Mobley. Then Royal is out. There's your 2 and 3 leading scorers, and then Bynum is ill and not 100%. You're thinking, man, Ohio State's going to get stomped in this game. But that really didn't happen. The Buckeyes came out and played incredible defense with this ragtag starting lineup of Bynum, Bruce Thornton, Tyson Chapman, Puff Johnson, and Christoph Tilley. That was your starting lineup today. Puff Johnson in his 8th game at Ohio State since earning his eligibility was in the starting lineup. And really, this was another command performance for Bruce Thornton. And you think about it, Thornton, again, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and he put this team on its back. At halftime, he had 16 of Ohio State's 26 points, and the Buckeyes had an improbable 26-23 lead. They just came out and laid it all on the line defensively with a really good zone defense. And they were able to hold Michigan State to just 30% shooting. Michigan State played in their hands with some terrible shot selection, I felt, in that first 20 minutes. You could tell that Tom Izzo peeled the paint there in the locker room at halftime, but because Michigan State came out with a much more renewed sense of urgency, obviously, there in the second half. But Bruce Thornton, for him to play the way that he did, just incredible. Just another incredible performance for him. He ended up 12 of 22 shooting, 2 of 8 on threes, 6 of 8 at the foul line. He did everything he could, as we said, to will Ohio State to the win in this game, but it just was not meant to be. Michigan State was able to rally in the second half. The Buckeyes led by as many as 6 points in the first half, 6 points early in the second half, but Michigan State was able to rally and eventually lead by as many as 10 points in the final 2 minutes. But the Buckeyes actually got it down to 4 points at one juncture, unable to get it any closer, and Michigan State comes away with the 6-point win. You'd say, oh, this is a silver lining, a moral victory for Ohio State to come away from this game shorthanded and to give Michigan State, one of the best teams in the country, such a tough game. Michigan State was regarded as a 4 seed by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee in its rankings that came out on Saturday, 14th overall seed, number 15 in the AP poll. They're legitimate. As it turns out, just another loss to a ranked team. Ohio State 1-7 against ranked teams, and now 0-9 in quad 1 opportunities. About the only good news about that is that the game at Iowa on Wednesday, as well as the home game with Purdue next Sunday at Ohio State, Both those will be quad one opportunities, and the Buckeyes would like to get one or both of those, plus have Wisconsin somehow end up in the top 30. That way, that win over Wisconsin this past week becomes a quad one win. So a lot going on there with that whole quad one thing. But you have to salute Ohio State for their courage, their bravery, all those things. You have to again, if, as we said, if there were moral victories in sports, Ohio State would get one. The issue is you are now 27 games into a 31 game season, and you're still looking forward to that breakthrough win that would punch your ticket to the big dance. This would have gone a very long way toward that. I mean, Ohio State entered the day. Joe Lunardi from ESPN had him in his last four in. So, again, they're looking for every win they could get. If they can go 3-1 here in these last four games with a win over either Iowa or Purdue, Iowa or Purdue, and then win the last two at Penn State and at home over Indiana, certainly you'd like Ohio State's chances to be right there in consideration, maybe with a win or two in the Big Ten tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. But, as it stands right now, Buckeyes just can't seem to get over the hump, can't get any breaks. You're talking about Mobley being out, now Royal being out, and everything else about this game. You go through and look at the first half, and I think Ohio State at its end did everything that it could possibly do to scrape together those 26 points in the first half. They took great shots. They were opportunistic. Christoph Tilley stole a pass deep in the backcourt and laid it in. Bruce Thornton kept beating Jeremy Fears off the dribble, got into the lane. He kept hitting one shot after another. And, you thought, for the longest time, Ohio State would have a chance to maybe pull off the unthinkable, and that would be trying to put up the comments, do the unthinkable and pull off this upset victory. The Buckeyes got ahead by 6 points early in the second half. Colin White, the seldom used sophomore, hit his first three of the season after missing his first 14 three-point shots this season. He hit one, and Ohio State led 31-25 with 17:48 left. Chapman hit a baseline jumper to make it 33-28 with 16:56 left. But at that point, it was Michigan State going on a 13-4 run with Jeremy Fears finally coming out of his slump and hitting a three. And Carson Cooper, what a game for him, the 6'11" center for Michigan State. He had a career high 20 points and 11 rebounds in this game, and he's the guy that really made it go for Michigan State in this game. The Buckeyes ultimately shot 44% from the floor. Not too bad considering they're down Mobley and Royal, but just 18% on threes, 4 of 22, and just 10 of 17 at the foul line, 59%. And all of those points just critical in a game like this. Michigan State out-rebounded Ohio State 43-26. That's a commanding edge in the rebounding. And Michigan State had 16 second chance points to just 5 for Ohio State. Michigan State wins the game by 6. So as you can tell, that really was the difference in this game. Had a chance to listen to Jake Diebler's comments on the radio after this game. I'm going to scroll through and find a few more of these great comments on here and put them out there here as we continue this show. But this guy here, Fake Jim Knowles, has a comment. Bruce is a dude. Crime if he doesn't get to go play in the dance. And I agree. He's playing right now as one of the top players in the Big Ten and really in America. And, excuse me, deserves that chance if it's possible to get into the big dance. Buck Rashton, he sums it up pretty good. Typical loss. 5-minute period, OSU gets cold, the other team gets hot, and they don't have the horses to come back. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Carolyn, ever the optimist, she says, I love my Buckeyes. There you go, with a bunch of heart emojis and everything else. There's a lot of people who follow this team, rain or shine, win or loss. And that's kind of how you had to approach this game today. You couldn't go into it feeling really good. It with the way that they were without Mobley and Royal, and Bynum was ailing as well. But certainly a lot of people were holding out hope that they could do the unthinkable here. Matthew Miller, Bruce is a great player. He will be a nice pro. He just keeps getting better, but he also needs a lot of help and doesn't seem to get it. I got to agree with you there, Matthew. Only Christoph Tilley really came to play beside him today with 10 points and 7 rebounds for him. Another question here. Joe S. Skippable. Hell if I know what that says. Definitely ran out of steam. Again, down Mobley and Royal. Izzo in the ref's ears. A lot of BS calls. Yeah, there were a couple calls that made no sense. Michigan State had a guy fall to the ground, no traveling call on that. Just a couple things that happened throughout the game that, to me, I think they called a foul on Puff Johnson one time and didn't appear to touch the Michigan State player. He looked like he got knocked down by his own player. And let's see here. Matthew says, crazy to think we can't score with other teams. Well, you're not going to score without other teams, obviously, as he notes here, without Mobley and Royal. Butler Buck, he says, tough way to play. 2 of the 3 best players out, others injured. Yep. Let's just see. Daniel C. Booze, like that. Keep Diebler. He is just getting started. Again, maybe a voice of reason there. They came up with a great game plan. Walk it up offensively, play zone defense defensively, slow the pace of the game, shorten the game to fewer possessions, maximize yourself on offense, which I thought they did in the first half. And then Michigan State's defense really kind of took over in the second half. And they did the best they could to keep their, as I said in our game story, this ragtag team in the game. Joe says, thanks, Steve, for your OSU basketball men's coverage. We've been with them since this thing started. We were there for the Big Ten Media Days back in September, and we will be with them through the end of the postseason, whatever that takes here in the next few weeks. So, don't change that dial. David Shuey says, I'm not into moral victories, but to be that close with everything against them, ... I think the rest of his sentiment is that is pretty daggone impressive, and I would agree with that sentiment. Matthew Miller, need to win out or won't make it for sure. I don't know. The teams around them are going to lose. A lot of teams that were on the bubble yesterday, only a few of them won. So, there it is. Butler Buck says they showed OSU as an 11 seed today on TV. USC the first 4 out, IU the next 4. Ohio State needs to beat Penn State and Indiana, and I'd throw Iowa in there as well. Ohio State in basically a virtually tie with Iowa for 8th in the Big Ten. The top 8 in the Big Ten get the double bye to the 3rd round of the Big Ten tournament, and that would be a great break if the Buckeyes could do that. Joe says, never really know, and we can win the games in front of us if everyone contributes. Yep, I agree with you. They got to get everybody healthy, Mobley and Royal in particular, get them back on the court and take your shot, and that's what's got to happen. Jerry Enders says here, love the Buckeyes. Yep, a lot of people still feeling that way. Jack Evans said they're not beating Purdue. Tell you, Purdue has great nights, and Purdue has nights that they don't show it. They were a machine on Friday night, very much enthused as they took on Indiana their Friday night at Mackey Arena and blew them out of the building. Raymond says, we miss Royal, no doubt about it. He's a kind of a glue guy, does a lot of the little things that you see. Julian says they're not going to make it to the NCAA because their players either get sick or injuries. They got the worst luck. Yep, just what it seems like. Toot toot. Let's see, trying to get this thing to work for me here. Butler says Thornton is a really good college player. He doesn't have much help. I would still take Kelvin Ramsey over him. He may end up being OSU's leading scorer, but is he one of OSU's top 10 players? That's a good point because the top 10 players are guys that you'd think played on winning teams. And what can you do? Role player here. I don't understand how Royal is out and sick, but present on the bench and laughing. Can you explain? All I know is I was told he tried to warm up and it didn't go well. Maybe he was going to, vomit or whatever. I don't know. I'm not there in wherever this game was played, East Lansing, to know exactly what the final story was with him. But let's don't go there and question people's motives and you caught somebody in a candid moment, over the course of a 2.5 hour game, the guys cracked a smile somewhere in there. And there was a lot to smile about for this team. A lot of funny things happened. A lot of great things happened for this team. Just came up a little bit short, obviously, down the end. And Carson Cooper, he played one of his best games for Michigan State. The rest of his teammates were a virtual no-show. Cohen Carr was a nothing. Fears really didn't get much going until late in the second half. And Jared Scott really didn't do much either until late in the game. And Jackson Kohler did have 11 rebounds or 10 rebounds, I believe, but did not have his usual type of scoring game. So Ohio State caught Michigan State on an off day, and the Buckeyes not able to capitalize. Let's see here. Daniel Henry says, I hate when a basketball team loses a game when they make more field goals than the other team. Yep, that really does suck. No doubt about it. David Shuey, what about Noel still being in a boot? Is there a timeline? Coach Diebler said earlier in the week, the guy is still in a boot, but they are hoping before the season that he can come back. And guys, the season's over in 2 weeks, the regular season at least. Guy's in a boot today. Does that mean he's going to play the next 2 weeks? I don't know about that. Randy Allman, he says, how can a puff be on the ground and get called for a foul? Kind of left too many points on the free throw line. Yep, I agree with you, Randy. That was the call that I was alluding to. Not a very good call. And, Buckeyes, I thought the game was officiated okay. I think Pfeiffer does a good job. Karstensen typically does an okay job. And the other guy, Phillips, I guess, is a former NBA official, did 9 NBA finals, and is now in the Big Ten. So there you go. SoCal Buckeye says, we need to get healthy and we can beat those teams. I agree with you, SoCal. They showed today a lot of heart. Play like that the next 4 games, they're going to win at least 3 of them, I think. Doug Lundell says if Coach D can coach. Okay, well, we'll see if he can coach here down the straight. Question from Jack. How did Michigan State keep the possession when he threw it to his teammate out of bounds? That was an inbounds play, and I think they had the ability to run the baseline on that, maybe after a make. And so he was throwing to his teammate, which is a legal play, but Bynum reached across the line and ordinarily that's deemed a technical foul. Perhaps if it's deemed that it was done on purpose. In this case, I don't think the officials felt it was done on purpose because the last time, the thing that happened was the player who was to receive the pass was coming from on the court. So that creates confusion for the defender who maybe loses vision of that offensive player for just a split second as he goes out of bounds. Bynum still thinks he's an inbounds player. Perhaps there's a provision to that rule that does not call for a technical in that situation on the defense. And so they just deemed it, basically a do-over. They got the ball again from the same spot and were able to inbound it. It was basically a violation by Ohio State on defense to reach across the line and swat the pass because Bynum believed it was going to a player who had the last time he had seen him was in bounds, and he kind of snuck out of bounds to try and do a sneak play. And the officials, I think, put the common sense together on that to say that Ohio State did not deserve to be penalized for that play. Technical fouls in this game, Fears and Gabe Cupps jawing at each other. Fears was given, or Fears and Cupps were going back and forth. Cupps made some kind of motion about how Fears was shooting the ball. He was missing shots or whatever. And Kelly Pfeiffer, the official, told the Fox crew that he told both of them that there was a warning and that they were not to jaw at one another again. But they got after it one last time, and he went T for both of you, which was offsetting, so nothing came of it. And Fears shot his last shot, and that was it. So that was kind of an interesting side point to this game. Josh Carpenter said, we need more scoring, can't miss wide open shots. We need the dominant big man, shut down D. I miss guys like Kraft. Yeah, I'm going to go with you on every bit of that. They don't really have a down low presence. And it just, a buddy of mine who knows this game through and through made the comment one time, you got to be able to make those easy ones close to the basket. Those ones close to the basket are easy. Get those easy points. So there you go. Michael Huey says, we missed Royal and Mobley. Yeah, no doubt about that. Butler Buck asks, would if I can get this thing to work. Goodness gracious. Would Noel get a red shirt? No, this is his 6th year already. The threshold for that is 10 games, and he played probably 14 or 15 games before he went out with an injury. So, no, he is not eligible for a red shirt. Michael David Huey, we must win 3 out of our next 4 to make the tournament. I agree with you, and I think it would definitely behoove them to win at least one in the Big Ten tournament in Chicago, which starts in about 17 days. Let's see, Steve Powell. I have never seen a college basketball team, and this has been almost the entire year, that couldn't rebound offensively and defensively. They are the absolute worst rebounding team I've ever seen. Yeah, sorry to say that. Cupps has scored in 3 games? Keep your mouth shut. Okay. Don't know what or who that is the answer. Steve chimes in. Steve Hellwagon, salute. Diebler isn't the answer. Buckeyes basketball can do better. His teams can't close games. Okay. Very good. I think we've run through all the comments. I can't think of anything else really to talk about here today, other than you just have to hope on Wednesday night when they play 9 p.m. at Iowa, Big Ten Network, that they have a chance to play that game with John Mobley Jr. and Devin Royal back in the lineup. The team just goes so much better, obviously, with those guys there. They gave it everything they had today. They get a gold star for effort. I would have liked Robbie Hummel at some point to say, I didn't hear this, that Ohio State is a NCAA tournament team. But, I understand where people are coming from with their viewpoints and everything else. But Ohio State definitely gave it everything they had, just came up a bit short. And obviously, these come up shorts, they don't help you get to the NCAA tournament, unfortunately. It's just the way of the world. And, like Chevy Chase said in Caddyshack a million years ago, 50 years ago, the world needs ditch diggers too. So, you gotta win when the opportunity presents itself. Ohio State is now alone in ninth place in the Big Ten. They are a half game behind Iowa, who is 19-7, 9-6 in the Big Ten. And they are playing Wisconsin here late first half. It's Iowa 28, Wisconsin at home has 26, and Wisconsin trying obviously to hold serve at home. And if they do, then the Buckeyes and Iowa would be tied in eighth place going into that game at Carver Hawkeye Arena on Wednesday night. A win would assure Ohio State of at least a 500 record in the Big Ten. Would get them to 10 wins in the Big Ten with 3 games left to play. So there is so much still out there for this Ohio State team. And the Wisconsin win was so big in so many regards. And I would have to think that people aren't going to hold the Michigan State loss against them too much. But, yeah, thank you. That was Ted Knight's line. That was not Chevy Chase who said that. Good Lord. My brain is that was Judge Smales who said that instead of Ty. So yeah, my bad on that. I think on that note, I should call it a day. But everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in. We've filled 28 minutes of time here talking about this 66-60 Ohio State loss at Michigan State today. Obviously, some great games in college basketball yesterday. Arizona winning at Houston, Duke beating Michigan in Washington, D.C., and UCLA with that coast-to-coast drive by Donovan Dent to take the 1-point win in overtime over Illinois. It's February 22nd, but we're already starting to feel a little bit of the madness is already starting to creep in. Will Ohio State be able to participate in the madness? This and other questions will be answered on the next edition of Ohio State Buckeyes. There you go. Everybody take care. Have a great night. Stay warm if you're in Ohio. The snow continuing to fall out there. Everybody be good.